Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the latest Same Old Arsenal podcast. Today is a North London derby, spectacular, bonanza. It is, has always been, will always be red. This was a particular prize of mine yesterday. I don't normally buy programmes anymore, but I thought I'm just going to pick one up maybe. And the man on the front, I think we'll get to, Leandro Trossard. We're going to get to Eze as well. We're going to get to all of the goodness of it. Thank you very much for you joining us, wonderful listener. But also thank you to co-host Amanda. How you doing? You all right?
How can you not be happy? How could you not? How could you not? You just couldn't
Yep,
not be. Even though it's a
exactly.
grey Monday day,
Yep, we're going to
you
get all
cannot not
into
be
it.
happy.
We're going to get all into it. And we are joined by Carl Fern. Carl, how are you, sir? You good?
I'm fine. I'm really tired. I'll be honest with you. Because, I was at the game yesterday, and I was scheduled to be on the 8:30 out of Euston Station. I live in Cumbria, and I was going to go to the Blackstock afterwards for a good old sing song for half an hour before I caught the train. And then I'm literally watching Eze walk past with the ball. I'm in the North Bank, and I look at my phone just to check the train, and it's cancelled. So I had to get from upper tier block 100 to Euston, couldn't get to Highbury and Islington, massive queue. I walked to Euston Station, and Google Maps said it'd take 52 minutes, and I had to do it in 35, and I did. And then I get on the train, and it's 2.5 hours, and they say, oh, the buffet car, or the shop as they call it now, is closed. So I was starving hungry. I was thirsty to anything. So then I had a nearly 2 hour drive when I got to Preston to get home. So as I said to Amanda this morning, I might have worn my rain pants tonight because
You
I
might
need
have
a
done a
good night's
Leo.
sleep. Yeah, Leo. Oh, I do that every time. Don't worry. So,
I tell you what,
yeah, it's been quite a day, to be honest.
yeah, I bet. I was going to hold my hands up and say I'm knackered too. My face is a little bit red, but that's entirely because I drank far too much yesterday. I got home, the wife had produced me a lovely beef bourguignon, and I continued the drinking, which probably wasn't a good idea until match of the day finished. So today has been a less than productive work day, shall we say. If you want to tell us what you did pre-post the North London derby, pop it in the chat. We always love to hear from you, and we'll try and get through to some questions as well. But we need to get straight into the weeds of this. We need to go into the detail here, guys, because Arsenal 4, Tottenham Hotspur, the top Spurs 1. That was arguably one of the best in terms of serious, solid performances that I personally think I have witnessed in a North London derby. We'll kick off with our guest first, Amanda. Carl, what did you do? What was your kind of feelings? What were your vibes pre-game? Because I'll be completely honest with you. I was in Shea. I was in the pub around the corner from the ground called Shea. I met a few people, Johnny Cochran as well, who does the Arsenal Opinion Pod. He's a mate of mine. And we were talking beforehand. Everyone was confident, but not me. I was like, this feels like the kind of scabby, like they're going to sit 11 men on the edge of their box, Thomas Frank game, and they're going to score with their one chance. So we need to be on it today. But what did you do pre-game? What's your pre-game ritual? What was your vibes, and how are you feeling?
Well, my pre-game ritual starts with going to the Jamaican place near the roundabout opposite the Armory.
Mm-hmm.
And I go in there, and I know the owner, and I go and always have a flat white. I never drink flat white coffee, but it's now my superstition to have the flat white before the game. And the bloody coffee machine was broken yesterday, so I said, if we lose today, it's because your coffee machine. So I had a patty instead, so that was fine. It's a really good shop. I recommend the coffee. It's very good, except the machine's always broken. Then I have a meetup with the Gay Gooners, and there was probably about 30 of us yesterday. And I would say there was apprehension in the room because there have been talk of, oh, we take a scrappy 1-0, oh, it's going to be a tough match, they're going to dig in, and it's going to be awful. So beforehand, I would say there was nervousness. And then when the team came out, we were all expecting to see maybe Gyökeres on the list and a few others, but they weren't. Madueke was the one that sort of stood out. So beforehand, a little bit nervous, but I tried to G everybody up because I make badges. So I make badges, and I made a special one for yesterday, which basically said North London is red. I can't show it the camera now, but it was a rainbow version of the cannon, the Arsenal cannon, shooting the Tottenham chicken, so we call it. And I ran out of badges because even people in the stadium, when they saw it, they wanted a badge. So I'm going to take a shed load of them on Wednesday for the Bayern Munich game. So yeah, I think we were confident we were going to win, but we thought it was going to be a lot tougher than it was, because I think there's a lot of respect for Thomas Frank, what he did at Brentford, and we've had some tough games against Brentford over the last few years, and there was that feeling that he might know how to play us, but we'll get to it later. But he didn't have a clue. His tactics were all completely wrong.
They were totally wrong, and we definitely need to get into it. But Amanda, let's just close this one off before we start talking team news. What was your pre-game ritual? Amanda, she's frozen.
Have I frozen or you frozen?
No. I was just asking you what your pre-game ritual was. Go ahead, you're back.
I know. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight. Hopefully you can all hear me. Right. Pre-game, we got there really early. I got in the ground bloody early as well, which is an hour before kickoff. I never do that. But it's North London derbies for me. I've been doing them since late 70s. They are awful and wonderful all at the same time. You want it over, but then if you've won, you want to enjoy it all over again, which you do when you watch the highlights and stuff like that. Pre-game, chatted outside. I bumped into Laura, who's been on the podcast, Laura Jane Kirk, who's bloody hilarious. So I bumped into her. She was as nervous as anyone. I think we're all nervous. I didn't think we'd lose, but I wasn't prepared to predict, because in the car they're asking me to predict and I wouldn't. I didn't think we'd lose, but I did not dream it would be like that. Never. I thought, like you, Carl, scrappy 1-0. We'd be plutzing for 600 hours, waiting for the final whistle. But what I loved, the atmosphere outside the ground as well, was fantastic. It really was buzzy and just great. I didn't see any Spurs fans, to be fair, even though I come over the bridge, they come over. Just got in the ground early, which an hour early is ridiculous, but it went really quick. And we were all, because someone had messaged me the day before and said, you're going to love what's coming, get into the ground early. And then obviously they all announced it on social media to get in the ground early. I'd already tweeted Arsenal in the morning or day before and said, please, no embarrassing tifo, don't do it. I can't bear the bloody firework things anyway. But the tifo was outstanding. I bloody loved it. And I was really taken aback because the North Bank is to the right of me. I'll do it that side because it was the right. So I could only see it head on, and it just looked beautiful. Side on, sorry. It looks stunning, and I can imagine being behind it. So you were sort of to the right of it, weren't you, Chris? Or the left of it, or whatever.
To the left.
But
to the left.
It. Yeah, to the left.
Yeah.
Really loved it. I think they need to stop with the fireworks because the smoke went all over the tifo and you couldn't see it. Then the clock end had Arsenal Enders Love. I don't know what the number was because I don't think that came out too well, but the atmosphere was incredible. We knew that we had to be the 12th man. We knew that. We were all saying, you've got to bring your voices. My voice wasn't great this morning. It's better now. And what happened was, it was electric. For people that weren't there, I took lots of videos and stuff and I posted them because people around the world have thanked me because they weren't there. And if you're not there, you get it on TV, but you don't get it from an actual fan that's taking a video. I don't video during the match, but before, halftime and after. I mean, I've been to millions of North London derbies, home and away, at Tottenham's old ground for years. I have to say that was one of the most enjoyable I can remember. I wasn't there in 2004 at Tottenham, but to have Sol Campbell at the top of the tifo, the banter was just
Genius.
Incredible. I mean, Chris, I didn't know if it was Sol Campbell because I thought it was Ian Wright to begin with. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun if it was Campbell? Or they wouldn't do that. And they did, which is just brilliant. So whoever did the tifo, it was just the best. And I think North Bank Pod has just said what I want to say. The club listening to the criticism shows how at all levels they seem to be pulling in the same direction. Everyone involved, especially fans and groups involved in the tifo, which is fabulous. And that's what you want. You want our perspective on what works, not that stupid thing we had against, was it PSG or something? It was terrible and naff.
Awful. Yeah.
With a cannon. Yeah.
And I loved it. And the fact that we had Sol Campbell on top, the banter's just too much. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So it was.
I think it's fair to say. Sorry, Chris. I was going to say it's fair to say that Arteta is the orchestrator of that. He's the one that's pushing it behind the scenes, because he kept mentioning it in his post-match interviews as well, about the atmosphere and how he got goosebumps with the whole thing. So it's nice to know that the man himself is driving a lot of this.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know what's interesting is he is a man of marginal gains, and he loves. He's such a details-orientated guy. If you think about back to the beginning of the season, where we had the noise about how they've removed the covering as the players come out, because they want to create this kind of environment, this kind of atmosphere, this cauldron. And Arteta knows the value of this stuff. He knows the power and the energy that you bring from stadiums. And when that stadium is rocking, when it's alive, when it's awake, I mean, you don't have to do that for a North London derby. I've been coming to Arsenal for years. You're always going to get, it doesn't matter if it's 12:30 on a Saturday or 4:30 on a Sunday or a midweek 8 o'clocker, there will always be atmosphere. But it's the other games as well that we see more of it. We see more of this coming to life. And Arteta's been the orchestrator of a lot of this. So, Carl, you are absolutely right. Let's talk about the actual lineup, though, because, of course, that then leads us into the kickoff. And we had, well, it was effectively the same team that started against Sunderland, bar Hincapié. And for me, Carl, I don't know how you felt, but that felt like the right choice, because I've been saying all along, if you're going to have an understudy, your left centre-half understudy, if you're going to have a right centre-half understudy, which was Mosquera, you know, if you've got Ben White, you know, you need to actually lean into these. And a lot of people were talking about, well, Mosquera could do it because he's played more games and he played left centre-half for Valencia. But for me, I think it was the right call to really embed Hincapié in there. But he didn't really have much to do, as we know. But what was your kind of take on the lineup? And I guess the players that were back, so we had Madueke back on the bench and we had Martinelli, but no Martin Odegaard. So what was your kind of feelings about the Hincapié decision, and then also the subs and who we had on the bench?
I didn't have a concern about the back line at all, whoever they put in, but it was Mosquera or Hincapié or Miles even. I was more worried about the front and whether, you know, Gyökeres would be back, because I think with him, it would have been better in a way. I thought Marino played fantastic, by the way. So I was a little disappointed when I saw the subs bench, as it were, because I was expecting a few more names on it from everything that's been said by a lot of people. But overall, no, was happy. I was happy also with Eze, because I've been a little bit concerned of him taking on that Odegaard type role, because I think we're so used to seeing Odegaard and the way he plays, and then for Eze to try and fit him, but he was his own man yesterday, which was fantastic, and that made a difference to me. But I've got time for Zubimendi, and of course Declan Rice once again just outstanding. Saka, you know, it's a joy to watch that man play. So yeah, I was fairly confident. I always get a bit of a wobble around Trossard, because sometimes I feel that he's better on coming as a super sub. But I have to admit, in the last 4 games when he started, and he did play really, really well as well on yesterday, and he was better on the ball than maybe he has been of say a few months ago.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that's 3 goals and 3 assists for Trossard this season.
Can I just
thought
say
he was
about
absolutely
Trossard?
superb yesterday. Go on, Amanda.
Sorry, Trossard is like a little bit of an unsung hero.
Yeah, 100%.
Can you hear me?
He's,
yeah. It's one of those players, isn't it? I think my sound's a bit dodgy tonight. I do apologise to everybody. I think with Trossard, I think he gets the raw end of the deal. But Carl, I think everyone feels like that, and then they sit back and go, "He scored again. He's helped the team again." He's the only player that's a little bit like that. No one.
Yeah, I mean, if we do, I'll give you some numbers. So this season he is on 5 goals now, and he's got 5 assists. So he's leading the way in terms of goals and assists for our team. So absolutely brilliant. I actually wrote, when I did my BBC article post the last Champions League game, I called out Trossard, and I did it because I've had my issues with him. Certainly, the same as you, Carl. I've had my issues with him last season, which particularly when we went through that funk towards But the post-January sort of period where we were losing all of our forwards, and it just seemed to be part of the malaise in our attack. Like we had Marino, who went through the initial sort of flurry of against Leicester away. It was a very positive entry for him playing as a centre forward. But Trossard was in a bit of a funk then. There's absolutely no funk this season. Like I actually would say he's arguably been our best player this season. I mean, you could probably argue the toss about that with someone like Gabriel. But where would you stand in terms of Carl? Where would you stand in terms of Trossard being so far player of the season?
I would say he's getting there. The trouble is the team have all been that good, to single somebody out. I think it's very difficult this season because you'll single one player out and then you'll think about what Declan Rice might have done or Saka might have done. So, but he's had the spotlight on him, maybe not for all the right reasons. And from what we're saying, we all had our sort of little doubts about him, and plus the history that he had at Brighton beforehand. One of the reasons why he left Brighton was he kept pushing to be in the team, and I didn't know if behind the scenes he's in Arteta's ear all the time about starting. And I don't think that's what this Arsenal squad is about now. I don't think people do that in Arteta's ear. They know that he rules maybe with a rod of iron in some ways, and you've got to prove yourself on the pitch, and that's what Trossard I think has been doing. So yes, I mean yesterday I had no complaints about him at all.
Yeah, I actually think, Amanda, that he's basically he's one of the first names on the team sheet at the moment because of his form. But let's get back into the game, unless you want to jump in on any final bits on Trossard, because we started so well yesterday. I think it was within about 2 or 3 minutes that that Eza flicked that ball across to Rice to then larrup the first attempt, and it was a good save from Vicario. And I've just about an hour and a half before we went live, I've just rewatched the highlights and stuff. We were creating so many chances. Vicario made so many saves. But talk me through that sort of opening exchanges. Let's go up to the first goal, Amanda. Like, how did you imbibe that first 30 minutes?
I thought it was going to be typical of our season. We were going to be all us, and then they were going to break away and score. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. It was going that way. They didn't have a chance. You could just write the script. So I did not have 2-0 on my bingo card before halftime. That is for sure. I did not see that coming. I just want to go back. I was really disappointed that Gyökeres wasn't even in the squad, nor was Ødegaard. And Havertz. I thought they were all coming back. So I was a little bit disappointed at that. But it was good to see Madueke, obviously, and Martinelli on the bench. And then that set me off a little bit thinking, God, Marino up front. I do love Marino, but he's not the answer long term. He helps us out when he can, and he's a good player, but you really want Gyökeres back. So I was like sitting there thinking, we're just not going to score before half time here. We're just not. But it was incredible. It was just the ground went absolutely mental when Trossard, it sort of dribbled in, didn't it? It was like, it was so slow that I was like, and then unfortunately, because of this stupid VAR, you go mental and then you stop and you're looking at the screen. It's ruined everything. It has for any game, it's ruined anything. But I thought, no, there can't be anything here. Surely it's got to be a goal. And you're looking at the referee and you're waiting for him to blow the whistle to kick off again. And then it was just, I loved it. I mean, I was like, I don't have this thing about Eze before yesterday, because I know it takes time for players to settle. And remember, he played in a Palace team that was completely different to ours. So I never had this with Eze. I don't listen to what people say anyway. I never listen to what people say about Havertz or Madueke. I don't. I give them time. And I just thought, I didn't think, obviously, I never thought we'd score a hat-trick yesterday. That's not what I'm saying. But I thought he could shine here. And I was worried slightly, Chris, that they were going to play the occasion and not the game, because there was massive social media before a game for something like this is so hyped. All the videos and all the memes and all what Sky Sports and TNT and everybody does. It's incredible. But I wonder if that gets to the players. So my concern was, and then when we didn't score, I was a bit concerned, obviously, then the goal went in. So I was very happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really, really good goal. I think it was a very work goal. And do you know what? I'm going to give my props, Carl, to Mikel Merino. Obviously, Trossard gets the goal. He's end product merchant. But I said to the chap who I stand next to in block 5, you could be forgiven for thinking that that was a Martin Odegaard type of ball from Mikel Merino, because the vision to be able to play that, to see that run. I've watched it, as I said, I watched it again, and Trossard literally standing in that position, and he takes 2 steps in the right direction, and Mikel Marino's seen that, and he's gone. That was a superb ball, and a little bit of fortune about the finish. But do you want to hand out some flowers like I am to Marino for me? Because I just thought he's really come good, and for a player that I think a lot of us are a little bit like, what is he? He's so versatile, and he's such a valuable asset to Arteta and this Arsenal team, isn't he?
Yeah. Can I go back to the Declan Rice attempt after 3 minutes?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I watched it over and over again this morning, because I'm wondering if there's been some practicing on the training ground to dink the ball over the bus, as it were, because we did it several times yesterday and it worked. You know, the number of times they were, because where I sit in the North Bank and I look, it was like there were eight players on the line on the 6-yard box and certain set pieces, and I think they've been trying to work out a tactic for getting over the wall, as it were. And this little dink was done several times during the game, and Declan was really unlucky, and Vicario was probably the best save that he made in the whole match. But yes, they seem to be working on it. And yes, from Amanda, I'm the same. Everybody was jumping up and down with the Trossard goal in the beginning. And I'm like going, oh God, because it looked to me like he'd run too early. But obviously, I'm looking down the pitch, not across. And I was thinking, oh, VAR are going to say he's offside. He's going to be offside. And I hate that sort of wait, because everybody else was jumping around me, and I'm like going, no, this isn't good. So I did feel that in the first goal, but then when it did go in, there was that sort of, I feel settled now. This is, you know, we're betting, because we were all over them like a nasty rash, really, because they had hardly any possession, and then couldn't do anything with the ball when they did have it. Yeah, it's just an interesting little tactic, because I think they are trying to work out how to break the boss.
I think can we stick on that for a second, and then Amanda, I'll get some views on you. So I just want to stay with you there, Carl, because in that first half, I'll give you some numbers. Expected goals for Tottenham 0.00, big chances 0, total shots 0, goalkeeper saves 2, corner kicks 0. So you know, we'd made almost double the amount of passes. They had 133 passes in that first half to our 227. This wasn't utter dominance, but I think what you've just said is quite fascinating. So I just want you to expand on the whole trading and the defensive thing, and do it in the context of Tottenham, because Thomas Frank turned up to just low block this game, didn't he? It was exactly how we thought it was. And it does make me wonder if they've thought to themselves, right, this is a way in which we can get through. I really like that, the dink low block. So talk to me a little bit about Tottenham's tactics, and then Amanda, I'll get your view on Tottenham's tactics as well.
I thought Tottenham's tactics were shot to pieces. Yes, they had a low block. But did you notice that every free kick they had in their half, Vicario took the kick? And every single one was a complete waste of time. I really, you know, I couldn't get that tactic at all, and didn't see how that was working. And obviously, they played with just Richarlison. They wanted to do it like a Haaland, I was thinking. They just wanted to get the ball to him, and we saw later on, you know, what the impact could be in doing that. But that was a very lucky ball that he got. But it just didn't make sense. I couldn't quite work out what he was trying to do. But to have a goalkeeper taking free kicks just behind the halfway line, no, I didn't understand that, and they made nothing of it.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. I mean, Richarlison's hold-up play basically is non-existent. That man, it's like he's got butter attached to his boots, because the ball just doesn't stick whatsoever. Amanda, let's talk a little bit. We don't want to talk too much about Tottenham. We want to focus on Arsenal, but let's do a little bit on how you think Tottenham lined up, Thomas Frank's approach and tactics. Like, what was your kind of thoughts around it up until we scored that goal, and then I guess afterwards as well?
Well, I've never seen a negative Tottenham side like that, ever.
No.
I can't remember a day they've ever come to the Emirates, Highbury, White Hart Lane, or where they are now, to play like that. I was shocked at how bad they are in that position in the league. And apparently that was the first time they'd got beaten away from home, which was us. I don't understand what he was doing. And just jump way forward on the way home. You know, I have to listen to TalkSport. I don't have a choice. Tottenham fans were going mental about his lineup and the negativity of it all. And I was sitting there thinking that they reminded me of a team that would be in the lower escalons of the division, of the league, sorry, division. I'm so old. I, I just think that they didn't offer much. The only thing I will say is in the first 20 minutes or so, the defender that was on Saka, and I have to tell you that I used to know all the Tottenham players, and the last couple of seasons I ain't got a clue who anyone is, apart from Richarlison, is that the defender that was on Saka was quite good. He didn't, Saka couldn't cut in and do that. Who is it?
Udogie.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I've heard of him, but I'm just saying that I felt like he was okay. So I thought, oh, they're going to be quite good in defence, and I kept saying to Carl, they're going to be better in defence. They had nothing, absolutely nothing, and that's why I got absolutely freaking pissed off at what we allowed them to score. But anyway, we'll go back onto that. They came with negativity, low block, parked the bus, didn't want to lose by 7, and the goalkeeper wasted time from minute 1.
Yeah.
Minute 1. I've never seen that. Literally, the first time he took a goal kick. I mean, and this is why I prefer to have a captain that's in the middle of the field to say to the ref, he's wasting time already. I know they do this thing with their arm all of a sudden, for the 8 seconds, but did not stop wasting time. It was Tony Pulis Stoke tactics, to be fair. They weren't that filthy, to be fair. It wasn't that sort of game. They just weren't at the races. I think, and here we go, I think they played the occasion and not the game, where Arsenal didn't do that. We came to play the game. We thought we were better. We acted like we were better, and we had the confidence. They were shit scared, and that's why they parked the bus.
Yep, 100%.
Amanda, did it remind you of, remember the Newcastle game at the Emirates a couple of seasons ago when they were wasted so much time and they ground us down, and I was thinking, oh, please don't, play like that, because when you're 2-0 down, why are you time wasting? I didn't understand that.
It was bizarre, because I think Thomas Frank's a decent manager. I think everyone who goes to Spurs, Tottenham fans on TalkSport, it was so boring in the end. I wanted to put my earmuffs on if I had some, because I have to listen to it because of who I go with. They were just moaning non-stop about Thomas Frank, and I'm thinking to myself, what is it with this club and managers? Excuse me. I would also like to say big up to Arteta, because he's had his doubters. Well, he loves our club. I don't think. Honestly, I'm so shocked at how they played and how bad they were, because I expected a bit more of a game, Chris. I did think it was going to be a scrappy 1-0, 2-1. I actually thought they'd score first. It would be something. I was shocked. I've seen them play for years and years, never like that.
Yeah. Well, what I think is interesting is I think that the game and not the occasion, interesting point, quite like that. I also think tactically as well, Arteta had said in the lead up to it, I've had plenty of time to analyse. Arteta knew they were going to come with a back three. He knew they were going to sit Bentancur and Paulinho in front of them, and they were going to try and congest the space. So in a way, playing Marino up top, and I think Thierry Henry mentioned this afterwards as well, it kind of worked for us, because rather than saying to Marino, go and battle for balls into the box, which is what they want, Marino was dropping in and he was allowing Eza to move into that space just around the D, and of course that's where he scored all of his goals from. That's where he scored his hat-trick goals. But let's talk about the second one, Carl. Have you seen some of the stuff that's come out for Ref Watch and all of that about the fact that there was people interfering with play? Where do you stand on this? Because I can't see it personally.
No, I watched. I got home very, very late, and then I went on the iPlayer to watch Match of the Day, just to get elated before going to bed. And then I listened to Joe Hart. What a pile of tosh! I'm sorry, I've watched it back. It was their players blocking the view of the goal, and there just happened to be a couple of Arsenal players nearby. The whole thing, I think, was out. It was nothing like the Liverpool bad decision against City, when frankly that goal should have stood, that goal. But let's not go into that. But to say what because Joe Hart, I think Amanda, you criticised Joe Hart as well for some comments that he made, and it was just an awful pundit to sort of say, "Oh, that should have been struck off that as a goal," and no, it was there was nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I'm just right. So let's go back. The Liverpool goal should have been cancelled because the bloke ducked, and if he didn't duck, it'd have hit his head. So for me, I always say what I think, and I agree with Joe Hart. Now I know no Arsenal fan does, but when they showed it from that angle, I think Trossard is in the line of his view, and I am shocked it was given because normally we wouldn't get anything like that. So I am a little bit. I understand why people are saying it, and if you watch what I watched, Carl, did you not see when he turned the play round and what is it Vicario, their goalkeeper? I don't even know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What Vicario could see was our two players. So I'm obviously pleased. And I can see everyone in the chat room does not agree with me, which is absolutely fine. But I'm always honest and fair. And Gary, I don't think he could see the ball. That's just my opinion. I don't think he could see it. However, I can see that no one agrees with me, which is fine.
yeah.
And that's fine. What
Well,
do you
Amanda,
think,
there was
Chris?
a Tottenham player. There was a Tottenham player in that
But he
melee.
was he
If there'd
was,
just been the
but
two Arsenal players, then I think it would have
but
been clear.
the
But the
two
fact that
Arsenal were
there's a
closer.
Tottenham player,
They were
yeah,
closer to him though.
yeah, a
So,
little
and I
bit.
mean, oh look, someone does agree with me. Someone agrees, but I'm just, it's weird because everyone's
Tottenham
saying no.
fan.
I think I can't remember if my Carl agreed with me or not,
Yeah.
but I just feel that I would have understood if it wasn't given, Chris.
Yeah. Well, for me, so there's a couple of bits here. I think, Carl, I'm with you on your point. I think that there are two Tottenham players that are in the vicinity and Arsenal players. So in my head, it kind of cancels each other out because there's just bodies there. So the goalkeeper's not seen it. I think the other thing is proximity and the power in which Eze hit it. If there was no Arsenal players there, I think it still would have gone in because Eze he walloped it. It was an absolutely fantastic strike. And so I'm not sure that the goalkeeper's saving it, even if he's fully sighted, because he does see it and he does get down to it. He's just not get down to it quick enough. So I don't think it's about his ability to, be impeded because he can't see because there's two red shirts there, because there's also white shirts there as well. So just my view. I think it is a contentious one. I've seen a couple of different points on it, but ultimately the goal gets given. We're very, very happy. A nice crisp Asahi was drunk by yours truly at half time. And unfortunately, because I took a little bit longer drinking that Asahi than I thought, I was just walking into the concourse course bit as the ball went in. So I kind of saw it for a melee of people. So I hold my hands up there. That Asahi was lovely, Carl. Please tell me that you actually watched it all and you were in your seat and you saw it all.
Yeah, I sit second row of block 100, and at half time I thought no, because it's such a melee in the concourse, I just stay in my seat and take it all in. So when they started up again, and you just knew it was a bit like the goal. His first goal you could see coming a mile off. It was almost like 2 or 3 seconds beforehand. You knew he was going to score. The second one, it was just like wow, off to a flying start, getting that third goal. It thundered in. Vicario didn't have a chance, and of course, goals going in at the North Bank. That's always great because I'm literally right on top, and I think Eze himself, his reaction was like, "Oh my God, what have I just done?" And that was a
Yeah.
great reaction to see. So I was really happy for him, and I was thinking, yeah, we can relax now until later on when the jitters came back, because it's like that muscle memory, isn't it? You've been to so many games that you get so far ahead, and then they get one back, and you go like, "Oh God, is Newcastle over again?" And all the horror stories play in your head about how teams can come back, and
Yeah.
so it was great to see. And
Can I
yeah,
just
well
say
done.
though, just going back to that, Carl, I sit towards the North Bank. I'm the next block. Yeah, I'm in the East Stand Upper, and I was sitting there, and so many people weren't back.
Mm,
So many people, and he's come towards our side of the
yeah.
East Stand, cuts in and scores, and I'm like, going mental. I don't remember a goal we've scored in the 46th minute. I don't remember that. I want to say ever, but I do blanket a lot of things, and I'm sure someone will tell me when we've scored. I don't remember that. I had 7 seats in front of me empty because they were all trying to get back, and I didn't even, it was so weird celebrating because we've all just sat down, literally just sat down, and we're going mental, going, oh my God, it's 3-0. And all the people were coming up the stairs and trying to get to their seats. And I'm like, so many people, and obviously, Chris, you're one of them, missed it. It was
Yeah,
just tremendous. And
yeah,
and and you're sitting there at 3-0 with 46 minutes gone, going, right, do you know what? Let's go for it. Let's go for the jugular. I couldn't care less who it is. We need goal difference. We're going to need this at the end of the season.
yeah.
And then obviously, so when did you see it, Chris? Did you able to see the
On
replay on the
on the
screen or not?
on the replay, because I was coming in as it happened, and I've got
Right.
to say, do you know what? Jurian Timber again, another masterful performance yesterday. I know,
Oh, isn't it?
he picks up the assist there, but it's essentially a square pass. All of the heavy lifting is done, Carl, with that as a finish, and also on his weaker foot as well. The technique of this guy and how deadly he is from around the opposition D, that space. I mean, that is his zone. I watched, I think it was James Alcott, who does like a tactical show on YouTube, and he was talking about it's almost the Eze zone. The Eze zone is that space. And if you think about where I remember him scoring last season against us at the Emirates from that sort of from a corner, really, really good finish from around that sort of spot. He's absolutely deadly. And that's something that we've really lacked. And again, I've watched, I think it was Sky Sports, where I've watched another video where they were talking about it and saying Arsenal will win the league this season because they have somebody in that position that wasn't there last year. Do you agree with that, Carl?
It's hard to say because he's such a unique player. As you say, he plays his own style, and the way that shot went in, as you say, on his other foot, you could just almost hear it in the North Bank. It was a
Yeah.
thunderous, to strikers. A lot of players, it would have gone over the bar, it would have gone to the side. I'll be honest, maybe if he had a better goalkeeper, they might have had a chance of saving it, because those low shots, are ones that goalies, in the main should be trying to get. They're not like in the top corner. But we did miss somebody with that power, because I don't think Declan Rice was quite up to speed on those kind of shots until halfway through last season. I mean,
Yeah.
he can do a similar sort of thing. So yeah, it's just nice to see sort of a new card in the deck in terms of what Eze can do. And it's nice that he goes to the left more than maybe Odegaard does as well, and that's quite interesting to see. Where he positions himself around that D.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you both then, does Erdegaard walk straight back in the team?
I've just written that down. That was going to be my question for you.
It's like
This
podcast
is really
brother.
hard because we've just talked about the fact that Trossard is in such amazing form and he's our highest sort of goal output merchant at the moment. Then you've got, so that's the left wing position. You're not going to drop Saka, are you? Because he's our star boy, so he doesn't drop him. But Odegaard's the captain. You don't. Declan Rice is such a unicorn footballer. You cannot drop Declan Rice. So are you saying that Eze gets dropped after just scoring a hat trick? I think maybe there's a question about rotation.
Yeah.
But the good news, I guess the good news is that if he's finding form now, and Carl, I'd love you to sort of jump in on this as well. If he's finding form now, Eze, what a lovely position to be in, that you don't have to rush back Erdegaard, that you can just say, do you know what? We're absolutely fine. You take your time, mate.
Yep. I think it depends on the game. I think if I was sat in Arteta's office deciding who's going to play against certain teams, then I would, probably pick Erdegaard over Eze in some cases, maybe even Zubamendi a bit. It is that sort of the rotation that he can do now. I think there's certain games we've missed Erdegaard. I think he would have made a difference at Sunderland. Myself, I was at that game. I've always been a big fan of Martin, so it's a bit hard to sort of say, oh, keep him on the bench, because I think he has a lot of qualities to offer on the pitch rather than actually where he plays. I think he's like a sort of mini manager on the pitch as well. sort of Odegaard as Arteta's sort of second lieutenant, as it were, on the pitch. And I think we have an occasion missed that. Also, I like the way Martin connects with Bukayo Saka. There's a natural synergy there which we've been missing, I think. Timber's sort of picked up on that, and in a way that I always like the Ben White, Martin, Bukayo sort of triangle arrangement. They always seem to just know where each other would be. So there's certain things that Martin offers that I think we do miss. And yeah, let Bukayo. I think Arteta's the kind of man who'll say, yeah, Ezra scored a hat trick, but I'll pick the best team that I think's appropriate against the team we face on Wednesday, on Saturday, on Sunday, whenever it might be.
Yeah, I think so too. Amanda, what do you think on that? Because I think that Odegaard is like Arteta's man. He's like his general captain on the pitch. So I think Odegaard will get back into this team relatively rapidly. But what's your kind of view?
I think the point I want to make is the fact that it's wonderful to be in this position when they're all fit. We are going to be sitting there thinking who is playing what positions. But what's lovely is what Gary said. I just want to go back to that. 1 second, sorry. That is a key factor. Good thing is teams won't know what they're going to be up against until the start. We knew, didn't we, last year? Be Saka, Havertz. It was so predictable. We never had the plan B, did we? We've got plan B, C, and D at the moment. Well, when they're back, we will have all that. We'll have Havertz to come back. Does he walk straight back in the there's so much. Gyökeres, it's wonderful. We have the games to rotate. He needs to rotate against Bayern, which we'll get to, because Chelsea is much more important than Bayern Munich on Wednesday night. I never thought I'd be saying that, but it is much more important at this stage of the Champions League. Does he walk straight back in? I think you can play both, but you can just rotate them in and out. They don't have to play a full 90 minutes. Maybe Eza can come on for 20 minutes. Maybe that's what his plan is. So we do not get these injuries. Maybe Saka can come off and Madueke. Maybe they don't have to play full games once everybody's fit. The thing is with Ben White and Jurriën Timber, which I just want to go back to, Jurriën Timber has been, you're talking about Trossard being player of the year. For me, Timber has been insanely outstanding. It is wonderful to watch, considering that horrific injury he had on day one. And we're in a position where this is why pundits and everybody outside Arsenal are saying we're going to win the league. It is November, people. I'm not even discussing that. But because of the strength in depth, Chris, we've got, which we've never had. We've never had this before. You sit there and you're going, bring Martinelli on, bring Madueke on. Who are you going to take off? Doesn't matter. Take someone off. Bring them on. We've got it. You're looking at the bench. You're looking at Dalman, Waneri. It's wonderful. And we've got 4 of them still out. So for me, it's all about rotation, and he needs to get that right. I don't want to see the same team against Bayern Munich. I really don't. I want Skelly on. I want Ricardo off. I want them to have that rest, because Chelsea's going to be absolutely massive on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a really, really big one. And do you know what's interesting? The fact we're having a debate about who's been the best player of the season, that's the reason why we're 6 points clear at the top at the moment. Because you could say Raya, you could say Saliba, you could say Gabriel, you could say Calafiori, you could say Zubimendi has been transformational for us. Trossard's in form. The only one you probably say has been a little bit muted, but that's because he's kicked off the season. He was out for about 3 weeks, has been Saka. But even he is still delivering on end product. So there are so many players that are performing, and we are just such a difficult team to beat that unfortunately the only way that teams do score against us is by getting ridiculously once in a lifetime goals, Carl. And you have to sort of begrudgingly just go, yeah, all right. I mean, I don't think Richarlison is worth any sort of figure, if you like. I can't stand the guy, and I just don't think he's a very good footballer. I think he's very, very average, and I can't believe he's got as many Brazil caps as he does. But that was a great finish, wasn't it, Carl?
It was. I've described him as the pantomime villain. Who was happy? All of us were happy when he did that stupid celebration, took his shirt off, thought he'd got the winning goal, and then they didn't get the win. So he's done that twice now. I don't like his attitude. He's just one of. I cannot see a player like that, for example, playing for Arsenal. We would never have a player like that. Certainly under the Arteta reign, it wouldn't happen. I must admit, I was watching Zubimendi go across pitch, and I was like, "You're holding on to it too long. Just please pass the ball. Please pass the ball." I saw a bit of a disaster happening because I saw that Raya was way out of his goal, and then I was hoping that he'd miss. But the way that Raya went back, I mean, if he'd been in the clock end, that was one hell of a spectacular attempt to save it. But yeah, it was just one of those, a bit like the goal at Liverpool. It was 2 or 3 seconds of luck, and the 1 in 20 times that the goal would have gone in, it went in, and I think it was that situation. A lot of times he would have missed, wouldn't have got enough behind it, but hey ho, it went in, and but I must admit that's when I started going like, oh god, as I talked before about that muscle memory of games in the past, where you think, oh, is this where, so squeaky bum time for a little while, and then no, because they didn't take advantage of it. You thought that in a previous North London derby they'd have got all fired up, got their fans behind them, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, Amanda.
I just wanted to say that Zubimendi, players make mistakes. I'm not getting on his back. But is anyone getting a little bit fed up with Raya playing on the halfway line? Or is it just me? He worries me so much, Chris, that I'm watching down there and I'm like, I've got half a pitch here where there's no one's in our goal. So in instances like that, he could have saved it, couldn't he, if he was on his line?
So I think you just need to look at the way in which we play and the way in which Arteta sets his team up, because essentially what Arteta is doing is saying, I want an extra outfield player, and so I want you to play like that because I want you to have the option. He's almost playing like a sweeper, and what it does is it enables our centre halves to like split a little bit more at times. And if you think about the way in which Ricardo Calafiori plays left back or left wing or left 8 or centre forward, depending on where he fancies going. So if you've got Ricardo Calafiori out of position, but you've split your left centre half, you can drop Raya forward, and actually it means that you can have someone like Calafiori operating in a position where teams don't know how to mark him. So I think it's just the way in which we're set up, and you probably just need to accept that sort of stuff every once in a while, once in a blue moon, that sort of weird stuff is going to happen. But if it's once in a blue moon, and if you've already scored a few open play goals, by the way, in the process, then I think we can just kind of accept it. And that final fourth open play goal, Carl, I think that was my favourite from the lot, because you know how you described, it's going in before it even leaves his boot. That's how I felt with that one. The way that it just opened up, and also to have the Spurs player, I think it was Udogie, just left sort of slip down on his arse as Eze just kind of curls it in. That for me was my pick of the bunch. Was it your pick of the bunch? Like, did you also have that feeling of, I know this is going in before it even left his boot?
Yes, it was definitely it was the absolute icing on the cake, because he got the hat trick, and probably Amanda and I were the only ones on this call that maybe were alive the last time. Was it Alan Sunderland scored?
Well, can I just give you a stat? I'll give you a stat, because yes, it was Alan Sunderland, 1978, and me and you know him well because he won us the cup in 79. I know that, and that's not something I need to look at. It was my first final I watched. The Arsenal players to have done so are Ted Drake, 20th of October 1934, Alan Sunderland, 23rd of December 78, and Eberichi Eze, 23rd of November 2025. So he joins that elite list of that, and also a landmark day because that was the 400th hat trick scored in the competition, and he became the 23rd Arsenal player to get one. No team has more different hat trick scorers. So that is down to Carl. He's sending me all those stats, but I agree with you that goal from Eze, the third one, was my favourite, but he's saying his second one was his favourite. I loved the third one. The roof lifted, the band started. There was a fire drill at the other end. Let me tell you, Spurs fans, some didn't come back after half time. Some left after Eze scored in the 46th minute. And then when it went 4-1, it emptied. And I did not. And I swear, when I was walking home, and I always with the away fans over the bridge, did not see one Spurs fan. I know I stayed a bit later and enjoyed all the music and the fun with the players. There wasn't one Spurs fan that I saw. So that sealed it, didn't it? That fantastic goal by Eze, Chris. I loved it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I want to ask you both now. Amanda's husband Carl often puts something in the chat. I'm not going to say the question.
He's
But
already
where
done
are
it.
you? Where are you,
There we go.
Carl?
Oh, that
Where
one.
are you in terms of this team and the significance of that result in the context of where we want to be in May?
For me, the difficulty is Tottenham played so badly, right?
Mm.
To be honest, and was set up so badly, we couldn't fail to win that game. I was at the Sunderland game, and to see a team having a go against us, I wonder if Thomas Frank even watched that game for any tactics, because we are more open the way we play. We leave ourselves open at the back. And Amanda, just kind of go back to the Raya situation. If he'd have been closer to his goal, then Richarlison could have been in a goal scoring position, and he would have been taken out, and we might have had a red card from somebody
Yes,
trying
there is
to.
that, and it could have been
Yeah,
one-on-one with Raya. I appreciate that.
yeah.
I
So
feel like
part of
half
me
the
kind of
pitch is
went,
empty.
yeah. That was almost like the insurance policy, because again, I was at Bournemouth when Saliba got sent off, and it's always in your mind when there's that situation.
Yeah.
So is it better to concede a goal, certainly when you're that far ahead, both on the pitch and in number of goals? But so Tottenham played really bad. I think the test will be next week at Chelsea, in terms of a team that's had sort of more success. But even they've had bits of wobbles and had some strange results. For the rest of the season, if we get these players back, I'm watching games now and I'm not frightened that we're going to, concede a late equaliser, or, somebody's going to get a late winner. We're so strong and solid across the whole pitch. Quietly, yes, I think we've got more than a good chance of winning the league. I just don't like hearing the chant, "We are top of the league," say "We are top of the league." And I refuse to sort of join in on that. I know we're top of the league, but it's not yet, I'm quietly confident that we will, but we've still got a lot of tests ahead of us, and Man City, strong team, dropping points. There's no reason why we won't have a bad run of games. Now, luckily, with the rotation that we can get, I think we're going to cover a lot of the games, especially over that busy Christmas period where we've got Crystal Palace, Everton, there's Brighton. There's a whole series of games in a very short period of time.
Carl, you're in my camp. We just go game by game.
Yeah.
We've watched Arsenal for a billion years. We know what can happen. I'm bored of saying it. I told Tim Sherwood off on Sky when I tweeted it when I was on Instagram, and I said, "Shut up, Sherwood. Whether we beat Spurs or not, we have not won the league or not lost the league." I'll say it again. Talk to me in March or April. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous talk. I don't mind singing "We are top of the league," because we are. It's not saying we're champions or anything.
No.
I just cannot do this. We have been top of the league this point in the last few seasons, not last year, but the couple before. So can we just enjoy it? We've beaten Tottenham. Chris, I didn't even want to ask that question by Carl, but I knew you would.
No, and that's why I'm trying to avoid it. But I do think we are that was a statement win yesterday. All the talk on Friday was how we were going to be 1 point off of Manchester City were going to be 1 point off of us.
Yeah.
And, you looked at that and think Newcastle have a terrible record against City. I think it was the first time they've beaten him in God knows how long at St James's Park. So you're thinking that's probably going to end up being a win. You're then also thinking, Tottenham could spoil the party. It could get, the occasion, playing the occasion, the pressure of the occasion. And then I look at that result and how emphatic it was. And I think, Carl, you and I agree with you. Next weekend, if we somehow manage to get a win at Stamford Bridge, we've drawn the last 2 times that we've gone there. So certainly by no means a foregone conclusion. That's another big statement. And then I'm looking at the rest of the fixtures. It's Brentford at home the week after, Villa away, which is going to be really tough. You've got Wolves at home. You've got Everton away that takes us up to Christmas. This is a period in the season in which, this is a hard period for us in the season. We could be finding ourselves more points clear. I mean, I think City and Liverpool have got quite an easy run, but that's why I'm thinking this might be, Carl. I don't know. That's why I'm thinking this week could be pivotal. We could look back on this in May and think it could be this
No.
this week was one of the defining ones.
I think there's
No.
things gone our way this season, which haven't in the past. Think about all those weekends where we played last, and maybe Liverpool have drawn and Man City have drawn, and we have an opportunity to leapfrog and all the rest of it, and we've screwed up. We've either lost or we drew.
Yeah.
We've had 2 weekends now in this season where Liverpool City did badly, we did really well. Same thing this weekend gone. Liverpool lost and Man City lost at Newcastle. And that didn't happen last season. We never took advantage of those sort of situations. And then winning against teams like West Ham, that it was a miserable 1-0 loss last year at home, and getting all the games against Fulham. We've been getting the wins, and that's making the difference. And they just carry that through. So we've had bit of a favourable wind, shall we say, with Liverpool and Man City losing at weekends, and long may it continue. Wouldn't it be fantastic? We beat Chelsea next week and Man City lose again, and we're God knows how many points.
Yeah, but I don't want to be like negative Nelly here. I don't. But if we don't and Chelsea win, they're 3 points behind us. So then all of a sudden we've lost the league that we haven't even won yet because it's not May. So can we not fall into this? We've got this one. Just enjoy. And I will agree with John Rose. That was not a statement win. It was just 3 points because they weren't very good. Chelsea are going to be a different kettle of fish. Honestly, I say this till I'm blue in the face. Let's just enjoy it.
How can you say that beating Tottenham at home 4-1
because they were rubbish? Because
they
weren't very good.
It's still a statement win. Doesn't matter
I agree with John. It's the worst Tottenham side I've ever seen play against us. So I'm trying to think back over the hundreds of 80s and the 90s. I've never seen that before. So for me, they're a pretty, and this is not me just dissing Tottenham. They reminded me of a side in the 18th in the league, trying to just not get hammered. So I will honestly, February, March, I'll start to get a bit excited if we're still in this reign of form. And the thing is, and all our players are back, I might start to think about there's a possibility. It is frigging November. Honestly, stop it.
Right.
And even when we play Chelsea, it's still November until the first on the Monday the next day. So I understand why pundits are saying this, and it is boiling everybody's piss. Chelsea, Tottenham coming at us with don't like North London forever. They don't like Atifa. They don't like this. They don't like that. The set pieces. We didn't have a set piece yesterday. And I do want to say something about Gabriel sitting on that bench. I don't know if you've seen his celebrations yesterday. And I want to mention that if up to his injury, for me, he was virtually player of the season. He was incredible. I'm only going back to that because I didn't get a chance to mention it. But it's not like a, if we beat Chelsea next Sunday, that'll be a statement win because they're a better side. And I understand what John's saying. I know you're saying it's Tottenham. They played the occasion, Chris. They didn't play the game. They were rubbish. Sorry.
All right, fine. Carl, do you want to have a final say before we'll start to wrap up? I think for today, for Amanda.
I just want to say about the Chelsea game. The hope that we've got is they've not had a red card for a few games, and they're due one because they've had so many this season. So Cucurella, I reckon, because I can't stand watching him play, and he's going to hack Saka to pieces as always. So I'm hoping that he gets red mist on. So I shouldn't say that, but anyway, there we go. I'm pretty confident about Chelsea, but the one thing I do want to say is I'm getting fed up of people wanting to throw the Bayern game on Wednesday. I'm coming all the way down for London to watch that game. I want a statement win against Bayern Munich, because I was there at the Allianz when we lost against them in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, and I think Arteta will want to be top of that league, and we can go top of that little league. Because you've got to beat teams like Bayern Munich to win the overall competition. So I want a good win on Wednesday. I'm not one of these. We can throw that one. Let's lose it or a draw.
I don't think people are saying throw it, Carl. I don't think we're saying
not throw it. But what I mean, they say, "Oh,
no one
take a draw."
wants to lose against Bayern Munich. We don't want to lose a game anyway. We're just saying that he needs to rotate and have the best players available.
Oh no, he can rotate, but I think they'll be up for that game. I really think they'll be up for the game.
I think we're up for every game. It's fantastic. We're up for every game.
There's a statement there from Mr. Lemon. All the games matter. That's how Arteta sees it, and I'm with Arteta on that. All the games matter.
So we should probably then segue into some predictions. Amanda, do you want to do your
We
booklet?
should, but do you want to do any questions? Or not? Got time?
Well, maybe one or two if we've got time, but let's do the predictions first, and then one or two questions,
Okay.
and then
So,
we'll hit the hay.
Bayern, what do you predict, Christopher?
1-1, and do you know why? Because Harry bloody Kane.
Yeah.
Harry Kane getting his standard always gets a penalty against us. We will batter them, I hope, but Bayern are actually in pretty decent form. I think it'll be a 1-1. And do you know what? Providing we get some players back, I want to win. I'm going to be there too, Carl. I don't want to see Bayern Munich get anything.
No.
I want us to. I think also there's an element of maintaining the momentum of winning, like that kind of feeling. So I do think Arteta will be high on that. Actually, I'm going to change. I think Fiona's right. I'm going to change it. I think Arsenal are going to win 2-1. Screw it.
Okay, so you're going 2-1. I've gone 2-all. Carl?
I'm going 2-1. I think you're right about Harry Kane, but the good news is Mr. Diaz is not playing, and he always scored against us when he played for Liverpool. So Mr. Diaz is not on the pitch, and he's been in absolutely sparkling form. So I think we've got the edge.
Nice.
And if the crowd get anywhere near like they were on yesterday, then I think it'll be a good night.
And then Chelsea.
What do you reckon, Chris?
I think we might draw that one.
So do I.
I've got a weird feeling that it will be one of those funny games.
Yeah.
So I would say that's a 1-1.
Okay, I'm going the same result as Bayern, 2-all. I've just got a feeling it'll be a draw as well. Carl?
Well, Mr. Optimist here is going for Chelsea 1, Arsenal 2. I think we'll win. I think we'll win on Saturday.
Sunday.
Sorry, is it Sunday? Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget Sunday. What do you think?
No, I'm actually not. I'm not actually going to that game, so it'll definitely be. It'll be an Arsenal win.
Nice.
Which is
cool.
What?
1-2. Sorry, I said
okay.
Chelsea 1, Arsenal 2.
Fantastic. Well, you need to be positive about me and Chris because we think we're going to be drawing. Although everyone in the chat room thinks we're going to win, so that's great.
Do you know what though? Even a draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world.
No,
I mean, we've got a statement wins, not statement wins, whatever. But that's what we want. But do you know what? Even a draw wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Right? Do you want to do one or two questions then, and then we'll skedaddle.
Yeah, let's see what I've got here.
I had a question for you, Chris. When's the last time Chelsea beat us?
I think it was probably at their ground or just in general, because I think it's about 5 years, isn't it? We've got an amazing record with them, 5-6 years. So because we've drawn the last two, and I think we won the last two before that. So I think it is 5 or 6 years since it happened.
Phil said, with everyone fit, how do we give time to Winery and Dowman?
I think they're just going to have to. Let's have this right. These are teenagers, so they're being managed, and that's exactly how it should be. If Winery hadn't have broken through last season and played so much football, we'd probably say he's on schedule. Same as Lewis Skelly. They're on track at the moment. Their minutes are being ramped up as they get older, as they have more influence, as they start to grow, their bodies start to grow. So I don't think we need to worry too much about that. I think you give him minutes in like some of the cup games. Maybe in January we can not get a Premier League team in the FA Cup as well. That would be nice. I'd like to go to somewhere like Preston or, I went there a few years ago. Blackpool, I went there a few years. I went to uni in Lancaster, so Preston, Blackpool, Burnley, any of those areas. Go up.
Chris, I went to school in Lancaster. I was at Lancaster Royal, so I know Lancaster. Okay. Yeah, and I'm working with a professor at Lancaster University at the moment. Barrow. Got to have the game at Barrow because
let's play Barrow. I'd love
There's going to be enough matches, isn't there, to play them?
Yeah. So, but in seriousness to the question, Winery might end up doing a Saliba, and I think he might go out on loan at some point. And there's a chance that Miles might do the same. Diamond's way too young, and I agree with you. I think they're going to manage his time carefully. He's playing with the under-19s, and is that the under-19 England team now? He's broken into, and there's plenty of game playing opportunity for him. I mean, I joked yesterday that let's bring Diamond on and get a penalty. So it's he's very useful at winning the penalties, but he needs a couple more years before he can be a serious contender for starting Premier League games.
Okay, last question from Carl. We have a stacked bench, more so between now and Christmas. Do you trust Arteta to rotate the squad? It feels like a lot of players are not getting chances at the moment. MLS, Ben White, etc. Chris,
100%
yes.
yes. And I tell you
Yeah.
why. Bayern Munich in midweek, then we play Chelsea. Then in midweek, we got Brentford at home. Then we play Villa at the weekend. Then we've got Club Bruges away in the Champions League. I think that's an opportunity to rotate. We've got Wolves at home. That should be an opportunity to rotate. So I think you've got some games coming up where he will rotate. I think he'll rotate certain positions. He's favouring rotating fullbacks at the moment, and I think Ødegaard, Eze would possibly share minutes. I think Gyökeres will share minutes. I think the noises, I suspect, are that Havertz should be back in December at some stage, so they'll ease him back in. But I think there's going to be enough minutes. Question on whether or not Nwaneri and Dalman get those minutes, but I don't think we need to worry too much about that, because I think he'll rotate wingers as well. Madueke, Martinelli, Trossard, they'll all get minutes. I think he will rotate.
I agree totally with Chris. Yeah, this is the same. You're going to see quite different teams. When we play, who we play in the Carabao Cup in the
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one.
Yeah.
So for the youngsters, but no, if the team are bang, you've got Gyökeres and you've got Madueke and you've got Havertz. Of course, you're going to rotate. I think because we can't afford to put out the same 11 every time, because that's when the injuries are going to hit.
Yep. 100%.
Emerson said the 46th minute was Robert Perez against Southampton. Thanks, Emerson, but I am not going to remember that. I don't even remember the game. I can't remember 3 weeks ago we played, let alone that. But I trust Emerson because he's very, very good at stuff like that. Also, just a couple of things. If you're not watching the show live, then hit the hype button. Apparently, there's a hype button on YouTube now. It just helps other Gooners to find the show. So if you're not watching live, please press the hype button. If you're listening on audio, please rate us, because that will get us out to other Gooners. We love the fact that we've had so many new people in the chat tonight as well. Hopefully you'll subscribe and press the bell. It is great. We totally dominated them. Let's go out and totally dominate Bayern and Chelsea this week. Chris and Carl, it's been a pleasure having you back on the show. Keep supporting the boys, because I know you go everywhere with us. So well done.
Look forward to it.
Okay, cool. Well, I think that's it from us today. Thank you very much for listening, doing all of the things that Amanda's asked you to do, with pressing various buttons and bells and whistles and all of that sort of stuff. Hopefully we'll see you again post Chelsea, because it's an away game. I suspect Amanda and James and I will be back at some stage, maybe with a lovely guest, and we'll certainly have Carl back on. Thank you very much, Carl. You've been really, really great today.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Enjoy your evening, people. North London derby is victory. North London is red. North London forever. We will catch you next time.
Always Arsenal.